Hey, welcome back to another Every Easter Egg video. This time we're going back to Batman Arkham Asylum. I was playing this game for the 100th time and thought, hey, let's make an Every Easter Egg video. First, we're gonna have to set up some ground rules here. As you know, in this game, there are riddles, and these hidden riddles are very cool. They can give you some information about known villains and characters, you know, a lot of backstory, a lot of cool things to find. But these are not Easter eggs because they are a part of the game. They are easier to find once you find the riddler maps, and unless they have a hidden meaning behind them, they are not Easter eggs. So we're going to start off with an Easter egg that is a riddle, but has kind of like a hidden meaning behind it, which is pretty cool. In Dr. Young's office in the mansion, you can find Ra's al Ghul's body, as you can see with the tag on the toe. And so when you scan him, he starts off as just a normal riddle, but then if you come back later on in the game, you'll see this. Nothing. He is gone. If you have a look on the ground, you'll see the tag Ra's al Ghul. This is obviously a hint that one of his followers has grabbed Ra's al Ghul's body and taken him back to the Lazarus pit to be revived. And then of course he shows up in the sequel game. And can we just take a second to admire this game's physics from 2009? This game is 13 years old now, is it? Oh my god. Look at those physics, man. That's amazing. Alright, moving on to the next Easter egg. So sticking with the mansion, in the warden's office, you're going to find one of the most well-hidden Easter eggs in this game. No one found this room for months, and so the developers ended up giving like a massive hint, and then players ended up eventually finding it. You need to go to the wall that I go to, and then you need to place 3 explosive gels in the exact right spot. So this took me about 20 tries to get this right. So it's not as easy as it looks, but when you get it right, this will happen. So the doors to Narnia will open up and you'll find a lion inside. No, okay, I'm kidding. But if you go inside, you have a look around, there is some very cool little details in here. So you're going to find concept art for Arkham City, being the sequel game, and also some blueprints as well. It's basically just a massive hint at what the next game was going to look like. On the bottom of the blueprint, it says Quincy Sharp's Gotham City proposal, and then it's stamped approved as well. So basically Quincy Sharp, who is the warden of the asylum, was looking at expanding the asylum, making it the Arkham City. Looking at Arkham City's map, there is a little bit of a similarity with, I guess, the bridge down the bottom going across to the city. I haven't played Arkham City in so long, I can't see the similarity. I'm definitely overdue to play Arkham City again. But we're just here to go over Arkham Asylum for now, so still moving on to the next Easter egg. If you haven't noticed, we are doing this in the order of location. So sticking with the mansion still, there are a couple hints to some DC locations. So Metropolis is home of Superman, and Keystone is home of the Flash. So when you first enter the mansion, you'll hear a thug mention this.
So, what you gonna do when we're finally out of here?
Hey, I've got a cousin in Metropolis who needs some heavies for his security company. You know, knocking on doors, collecting money.
You'll also hear this on the deciphered message number 4.
My journey lasted little over a month. Visiting academics in both Metropolis and Keystone, I was exposed to a wealth of new ideas.
So for the next Easter egg, just a quick backstory for those of you that don't know. Amadeus Arkham was the founder of the Arkham Asylum, and his wife and daughter were killed by a serial killer known as Mad Dog, also known as Martin Hawkins. Amadeus took him into the asylum and eventually ended up killing him. The date that Amadeus Arkham killed Mad Dog was April 1st, 1922, and that date can be seen on the bell in the mansion. A quick note that some people think the statue next to the bell looks like Hugo Strange, who is the psychologist of the Warden, Quincy Sharp, but I don't see the resemblance because they have completely different glasses and clothes, and I don't know where they got the idea from. So moving on, Lucius Fox is mentioned a couple times in the game. He runs Bruce Wayne's business and also develops gadgets and weapons for Bruce. He's basically his mad scientist and one of his closest allies. He doesn't show up in this game, but there are just a couple small references.
The Wayne Tech security protocols seem to be hack-proof. Lucius did a good job.
So that and the final armor upgrade, I believe, are the only points where he's actually mentioned in the game. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments below. So we're about to move on to the medical facility, but before we do, when you're tracking Gordan's tobacco, which leads you to the medical facility, you'll beat up the guys out the front of the medical facility, and then Joker will normally say the Three Stooges reference. For me, he didn't say it straight away, so I kind of just walked around for a bit until he said this.
Paging Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
Calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. Calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard.
This one's not really an Easter egg, but I thought it was pretty funny. When you first get to the medical center, you're gonna run into Harley Quinn, and Gordan is apparently around the corner tied up. But if you use some cheat codes and break the game, you actually see Harley Quinn again.
Where's Gordan?
Wouldn't you like to
I'm over
know?
here.
Shut up!
Ah, you crazy bitch.
I think the developers were like, just stuff it, they're not gonna see it anyway, let's just use Harley's model.
No way past the security gate. Gotta find another route.
In the patient observation area in the medical facility, you'll see a scrolling message saying Dr. Clooney report to gynecology. And so George Clooney played Batman and also played a doctor in the famous TV show ER. Right next to that message scroller, you can enter a little room where there is just a standard Firefly riddle. But if you actually read the newspaper, you can see a couple little references. So Garfield Lynn's is just Firefly. Roman Sionis in court down the bottom there, that's Black Mask, and to the left of that you'll see Injustice Gang back. So Injustice Gang is the group of villains that came together to take on Justice League. There's a couple different versions of them, so I can't really give you the exact people in it. I know Joker's in one of them, and you can also see another reference to the Injustice League in Harley Quinn's office. So you'll see some magazines with Joker's face on it, and on the front cover it mentions how Commissioner Gordan locates the second Injustice Gang hideout, and it also mentions Gotham City Police raid Oswald's Iceberg Lounge. So Oswald is actually Penguin. And then while we're here, we may as well just take a look around Harley Quinn's office as well. So Harley Quinn's famous hat, which is actually the hat that she first wore in Batman the Animated Series, which is when Harley Quinn first appeared. And since she doesn't wear the hat in this game, pretty much just a reference, but it's also a riddle. I know I said before riddles are not Easter eggs, but I would say that this one is. So in the game, there are 3 different types of insane enemies that you verse, and there was actually meant to be a 4th one in the game, and he was going to be called the Straight Jacket Henchman, and he was meant to wield some sort of blunt weapon, but he ended up being scrapped from the game. They ended up putting him in the game still. At this point in the medical facility on the map, you can find his head in a jar, also his severed hand as well. At this point in the facility, once you walk through the doors, you're going to hear a commentator on the speaker system.
Welcome to Arkham Asylum.
And if we fast forward it a little bit, it will mention a website.
Our costs and healthcare packages can be found at the front desk or at www.arkhamcare.com/prices.
And that website was a real website when the game was first released. It's since expired. If you Google search the website, you can find archives of the website where you can just click around the website. You can look at prices and some other little bits of information that you might find pretty cool. When you're versing Bane, if you let Bane kill you, then you'll see this.
The bat is broken.
the way that he breaks his back is a reference to the comic book Batman Knightfall. Over in the penitentiary, in the security control room, you can find Clayface's cell, and when you first see him, you'll see that he is transformed as Aaron Cash, and I thought I could come back and interact with him as Aaron Cash, but once I went and spoke to Warden Sharp, he had transformed into Warden Sharp.
Get me out of here! You rescued the wrong warden. He's an imposter. You know how many freaks are in this place. Batman, it's me, the warden. You know me. You can't leave me locked up in here.
So as you just saw, once you turn around, he transforms into Commissioner Gordan, and he just stays as Gordan forever, I'm pretty sure. It's also worth mentioning that the mannequin in the prison with Clayface is a nod to the comics where the third Clayface, known as Preston Payne, marries a mannequin who is called Helena. So there you go, never knew Clayface married a mannequin. Next to Clayface, you can find Luke Oliver. So before the game's release, they had a competition where the winner would have their face rendered into the game in a random location, and so if you go up the stairs that I went up, you'll find Luke Oliver, who won the competition. Once you put the beat down on Harley, you can grab Joker's party list, and we'll have some very familiar names on it. Selina Kyle is Catwoman, Harvey Dent is Two-Face, Jervis Tetch is Mad Hatter, Basil Karlo is Clayface, Waylon Jones is Killer Croc, Oswald Cobblepot is Penguin, Arnold Wesker is the Ventriloquist. You actually see his puppet Scarface all throughout the game because Joker is playing with him like throughout the whole game. And finally, Luke Oliver is the guy that we just saw, the one that won the competition. The cool side note is that the smiling faces next to the names are for the characters that actually appear in the game, and unhappy faces are those that don't. Over in the gardens, there will be a point where you verse two Thug Titans at the same time. During the cutscene, you can actually see presents in the background for certain characters, but if we hack the game and take a closer look, we can actually see who the presents are gifted for. So you've got Two-Face, Hush, Clayface, Killer Moth, Black Mask, the Riddler, and Catwoman. I do want to point out that in the remastered version of the game, they're all addressed to Penguin. I think it was so the sequel game made more sense because I think Penguin had a lot of Titan. Like I said before, I haven't played City in ages. Earlier on in the video, we talked about Mad Dog for a little bit, the serial killer that killed Amadeus's wife and daughter. Well, there is one riddle that says Mad Dog on it, but the game never really explains Mad Dog, and you'll see the statue is beheaded, and that is actually how Mad Dog killed Amadeus's daughter. The deciphered messages also mention a little bit about Mad Dog if you want to go and listen for a little bit more backstory.
They brought the animal before me, shameless and barking like a mad dog.
Next, we're moving onto the intensive treatment area to the infamous Harley Cube. It's probably technically not classified as an Easter egg because I don't think it was ever really meant to be found, but nonetheless, it is very cool. And you do need hacks. There is a way to glitch to have a look at it, but hacks are a lot easier. And this Harley Cube was only found in the last couple years, I believe. Once you get to the cube, you'll see Harley Quinn concept art. It's of Harley Quinn in her Batman the Animated Series outfit. So again, I assume that the developers just dumped this out here, assuming no one would find it, is my guess. Unless they did put it there and want it to be some sort of Easter egg, but you literally have to break the game to see it. So one of the first things you might notice about Aaron Cash is the fact that he is missing a hand. And that is actually from Killer Croc, who ate it. Apparently Killer Croc and Aaron Cash's story in the game is based on the comic miniseries Arkham Asylum Living Hell, and if you go to this place on the map, you can see some photos of Croc, his collar and ankle wraps. Wait, was it ankle wraps or wrist wraps? I forget now. And surprisingly, none of this is a riddle. And then if you look at the locker, you'll see a photo saying hands off my locker, which is just beautiful. Gotta love it. And the final cool detail here is also that you can go out and have a look at Croc's food area as well. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention this really cool interview tape from Croc. There is an extra reference to a movie here, so see if you can find it.
Patient interview. Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc. Last night, the patient was pacified after a breakout attempt. Gardier and Cash is in hospital. Reports state that the patient attacked Cash and in the struggle consumed his left hand. Cash is lucky to be alive. He lost a lot of blood.
Me too. I nearly choked on that bony hand of his.
That's disgusting. He could have died.
He's just food to me. And once I get a taste, I want the rest of the meal. You know what I mean.
Get him out of here. Now.
Got your set too, lady. I'll see you around.
Did you notice it? Okay, whenever a crocodile says tick-tock, tick-tock, it can only mean one thing.
He warns you, as you might say, with his tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
Now, if you don't know this movie, what the hell? This is, of course, Peter Pan. I grew up with this. And the crocodile who swallowed the alarm clock is actually called Tick-Tock the Crocodile. Not to mention the obvious reference that the crocodile ate Captain Hook's hand, just like Killer Croc ate Aaron Cash's hand. One floor up from Croc's room, in the same part of the map, you can find a little glass sign saying, "You don't have to be mad to work here, but it certainly helps." And you can also see the same sign in the Killing Joke comic as well. And then a couple floors above that room, you can find this mysterious room. So on the left side, you'll find just the standard deciphered tape unlock thingy. And then on the right side, there is just a rocky room with like a lamp and no riddle is in it. There seems to be no meaning behind this room. It's extremely weird because normally everything has a meaning in this game, but I couldn't really find anything on this room. So if you know, let me know. So now we're going to go over to the visitor room. In this room, you can see a Joker mannequin with a TV on its head and Joker talks to you through the TV. You can visit this room in between pretty much every main mission, and there will be unique dialogue with Joker. There was actually a couple Easter eggs in the dialogue itself. So when Joker said,
"There were these two guys in a lunatic asylum." Oh, hell, you've heard that one before, haven't you?
That's actually a reference to the joke in The Killing Joke, which I believe is both a comic and a movie.
This reminds me of a joke. See, there were two guys locked in a lunatic asylum.
And he also said,
"What's it like in your organization? Do you punish your hired help when they fail you? Or is that saucy outfit you make them wear punishment enough?"
Which is a reference to Robin. Now I'm going to show you all the times that the mannequins actually move. So as I'm sure that you're aware, Rocksteady developed this game, and around the game you can find this artwork, particularly just out the front of the visitor center, and it's actually artwork for Rocksteady's very first video game that they ever developed, which was called Urban Chaos Riot Response. The same artwork can also be found in Rocksteady's actual office on the wall. Towards the end of the game, once the front of the visitor center has finished being built, you can see Joker's face, and it can be looked at as a type of reference for the cover of a comic book called A Serious House on Serious Earth. It does look quite similar. on the glass, it says Monty was here. And so the only Monty I can find in the Batman universe is a thug of Joker's who owned a strip club, and Joker got pissed off at him because he allowed Harley to be a stripper or something, and then Joker skinned him alive. And that's in the Joker comic released in 2008. I'm not sure if that's what it's referring to, but that's the only one I can find. On the other side of the glass, it ironically says, "See you other side." So I did a bit of searching, and the only thing I could really find that it might be a reference to is the 1984 Batman special, The Player on the Other Side. And it's a comic about a villain called Wrath who looks a lot like Batman and has a backstory very similar to Batman. So it's kind of like looking in a mirror. Next up, we're moving on to the caves. In a pipe in a cave, you can actually find a doll head. And it's so weird that they put a doll head there. You'd think it has to mean something. So the closest thing that I could find was in the 1989 comic book Batman Arkham Asylum, also known as A Serious House on Serious Earth, which we actually spoke about a bit before. There is a page that looks eerily similar to the way that the head is in the pipe. All around Arkham Asylum you can find photos of what look to be thugs, but it's actually just real life photos of the developers. And there's actually some dialogue in the gardens when you're going to save Carl Todd. You can hear him say this.
The bat. I'm not scared of the bat. You see me go over there? He hesitates to play.
David Hugo is actually Rocksteady's art director. When you finish the game, after the credits scene, there is a little special cutscene, and there's actually 3 different cutscenes, but they appear at random, so you never know which cutscene you're gonna get. One shows Scarecrow coming out of the water, another one shows Bane coming out of the water, and finally Croc comes out of the water. The throne of mannequins that Joker sits on at the end of the game, it's also very similar to The Killing Joke, and Joker's final look in the game and the fight with Batman is very similar to the 2005 The Batman episode Braun.
Ouch.
At the very start of the game, you can see Pauli's diner in the opening cutscene. And this is kind of like a small tribute to Paul Dini, who co-created Harley Quinn and the Batman animated series. Pauli's diner is also the very first location players visit in Batman Arkham Knight. After you beat Bane, Batman will say,
"I found a cave entrance and over the years have moved a number of supplies here. It's a regular home away from home."
The same line can be heard in The Batman Season 4 Episode 6.
"Fortunately, I have other resources. A home away from home."
So this should be the final part of the video. We're going to go through some extra tapes that have some little Easter eggs in them.
Patient interview. Pamela Lillian Isley, November 12th, 11:33 a.m. Good morning, Pamela. How are you today?
Fine. Today is a special day.
What do you mean?
This is the anniversary of my new life. When I found my true self, my destiny.
Are you referring to the event with Dr. Woodrue?
Yes. What else? Of course, at the time I thought Jason had poisoned me. But in retrospect, he did me a huge favor.
And why do you believe what he did has helped you?
He showed me the bigger world. A world I should protect. Of course, my first offer was rejected.
Offer? You tried to kill everyone in Gotham.
Well, sometimes you need to prune back hard in order to make something flourish.
So in this tape, you hear about Dr. Woodrue, or Jason Woodrue, and he is the one responsible for Ivy's creation and later becomes the villain Floronic Man. Next up is the Harley Quinn tapes, and on these tapes, the dialogue is pretty much exactly the same as it is from the cartoon The New Batman Adventures, episode 21, and it's called Mad Love. Unfortunately, I can only show you small snippets of this one because YouTube keeps copyrighting me.
Harleen Quinzel, I'm Joan Leland.
Hi, Joan. Call me Harley. Everyone does.
Care to tell me how these got in my office?
Simple, really. I put them there. Why? You don't like flowers?
I think the guards would be interested to know you've been out of your cell.
Care to tell me how this got in my office?
I put it there.
I think the guards would be interested to know you've been out of your cell.
Next up is Scarecrow, so I'll let you have a listen first.
Patient interview 1. Patient was referred to me after the incident with Dr. Murphy. He appears to have suffered a breakdown of sorts. I believe it was brought about after the loss of his wife and child. As yet, the patient has been unable to speak. Continued observation shows little mental activity. It's as if the shock of what he saw triggered his mental collapse.
There's someone in here! It's him. We found him. Break down the door!
Note to self. As ever, it is difficult to continue my research under such conditions.
Step away from Dr. Combs! Now! Get down on the ground! We found them. Someone get a medic. Oh, God, what's he done to him?
So you heard in the tape Dr. Murphy and Dr. Combs. So Dr. Murphy is a reference to Cillian Murphy, I hope I'm saying that right, who played Scarecrow in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. And Dr. Combs is a reference to Jeffrey Combs, who voiced Scarecrow in the new Batman Adventures. And the final Easter egg, which I almost forgot to mention, around the walls of the asylum, you can find this drawing, and people are saying that it looks like Red Hood and maybe even Jason Todd. So for a little bit of explanation, Joker was Red Hood before he became the Joker. If you don't know, Joker captured Jason Todd, who is Robin, and later on he makes Robin become like his puppet in Arkham Knight. So people think that this depicts Robin being Joker's puppet, but it could really depict anything. Let me know what you think. And there you have it. We actually made it to the end. I guess one of the first things I want to say is people claim there are more Easter eggs and references, but if I haven't included them in this video, I just felt like they weren't even worthy to be called an Easter egg or a reference. But to my knowledge, this video does contain every Easter egg in Arkham Asylum. It's been a massive effort to make this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and hope you guys subscribe for more. Maybe even leave a comment letting me know if I missed any, or what was your favorite Easter egg, anything like that, because I really enjoy reading comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.